Dubrovnik, Croatia has been on our radar for nearly 30 years, and we were thrilled to finally be able to make it here. But what we found wasn't exactly what we expected. In this video, we'll share the meals, moments, and surprises that defined our 2 weeks inside the walls. We'll talk about what we loved, what challenged us, and whether Dubrovnik is a place we could ever see ourselves living.
And at the end of the video, we'll share all our costs.
I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Finding Gina Marie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way. Dubrovnik is on the southern coast of Croatia in southeastern Europe, overlooking the Adriatic Sea.
And just like Montenegro and Bosnia and Herzegovina that we just visited, Croatia is part of the former Yugoslavia.
Dubrovnik is one of the most unique cities we've ever visited because it's a completely walled city. Like, it is old-fashioned, why Game of Thrones was recorded here type city.
I was blown away when we first got in and just saw how massive and incredible looking everything was. I thought that it was one of the most epic old towns we've ever been in.
Yeah, you're coming in through a gate, and you're coming in the same gate that a lot of the cruise ship people are coming through. So at times of day, it is just jam-packed, and they know that. They've got lanes for in and out. You actually are roped so they don't clog up as much. But there's a lot of people moving in and out of this city every day.
When we got a little bit closer to our arrival date, I started to get intimidated knowing about all of the stairs that Dubrovnik has. And there are a lot of them. Yeah. One key tip is that we stayed near the Pile Gate, which was flat. And we had to go up a couple of flights to get to our Airbnb. But you could access most of the city without having to climb stairs.
Yeah, if you come in that gate, you'll see that there's a main road that stretches through the whole city, and that's flat. And the couple streets to either side of it are flat. Luckily, our Airbnb was a rolling flat surface all the way to our stairway. And then we noticed, as we're wandering about, that, yeah, if you want to go to further north or further south in the city, there are some serious stairs.
Which, if you have any kind of accommodations in the walled city, make sure that you are not carrying huge suitcases. We saw people doing that, and it is not pretty.
You know, I think when you're walking around Dubrovnik, it does feel like a movie set. It doesn't feel real.
But it actually is.
Yeah.
So it was used as a movie set, but all of it is authentic. Even for people who have mobility issues, although the limestone is very shiny, I didn't ever find it slippery, and it was rainy when we were there. So that was what I would consider a big plus. And it was easy to roll your suitcases because it's not like they were tiny little cobblestones that would get stuck every so often.
In fact, our one guide pointed out that you look at the center of the streets and it's really polished. He said, that's not the city doing that. That is hundreds of years of people walking on it, because look at the edges and you'll see that they're rough edges of limestone. So that is all just traffic over the many, many years of that city.
I do also want to mention that when you walk through that Pile Gate, you feel like you're walking into something very, very regal.
Because there's a big fountain there by the
Oh, yeah.
Gate. And so you're presented right away with, oh, okay. This is serious stuff.
Yeah, everything is just super massive. I'm just going to say that this is the cruise ship crowd. I just saw a bunch of excursions mentioning cruise ships. So I guess this is why it's so crowded in the morning. And you're told, I mean, it's 11 o'clock. And we were told that you should really wander the walls early in the morning, and I think this is why.
Yeah, we had a hard time getting over to this market. There's a lot of people.
Well, and we were here yesterday, later in the day, and almost all of the displays were wiped out. There was almost nothing here. But you could tell they're definitely catering to all the groups of people that are coming in.
Makes sense. Dubrovnik, go for it.
There was an experience that I never had in a city before. They feed the pigeons. And why do they feed them?
Well, because they give them birth control.
Yeah.
in whatever they're feeding them.
The seed, yeah. So they do this on purpose, and the pigeons know this. It was massive amounts of pigeons. I've never seen so many birds, and I was like right in. They spread the seed right in front of me. I was like, okay, I'm putting my life in my hands.
I didn't really know where the seed was going to come from. It was coming from the rooftops because that's where all of the pigeons were. But I think that they knew the timing and everything else. And so somebody just kind of came with buckets and was just pouring things down.
It was like a Hitchcock movie, you know.
What?
Ah, the birds! The pigeons are well fed and they're a little sterile. We almost didn't get any touring in for this beautiful city, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's talk about the walking tour we did make it to.
Yeah, it was good. It was a smaller group walking tour. Some of the bigger ones are from the cruise ships, and they have to have microphones and people have to wear headsets and all the rest, and it can be really crowded.
Have to find a buddy, keep everyone in line.
Our guide was Ivo, and he did a great job.
He did start out outside the walls and showed us where the moat used to be, and now it's a park, Pile Park. You know, so we got a little bit of the outside information. We got some history about the place, which was really good. And honestly, the city isn't that huge. So I think what he was doing was taking us to a spot and then telling us history, pointing out some things, and then moving us to another spot.
So what I thought was interesting was when our guide talked about the Lovrianx fortress and how the walls of that, which are outside the main city walls, are thinner than the main walls.
They call it the Gibraltar of Dubrovnik. They said that that was a strategic spot, but if it ever got taken over by enemy forces, they didn't want them to have enough protection that they couldn't get them out of there. So basically they said, if somebody captures that, we'll make those walls a little bit thinner so we can fire cannons at our own fortress from within the city walls and get those baddies out.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting and pretty
strategic and forward thinking.
Yes. Yeah. And you know, as I'm thinking about all of the things that we saw and did during that tour, I do think that it was worthwhile. And it wasn't very expensive, if I recall.
No, he had a lot of information. So I always appreciate a guide that knows the history and can tell the stories that kind of stick in your head better than just some facts and figures.
Yeah, recommend. With all of this beautiful water, of course, there are day trips that you can go to, and we are just really bummed that we weren't able to get to them. Part of the reason for that was me getting really, really sick. It kind of put a damper on the things that we wanted to do while we were here in Dubrovnik.
But we did get to see Europe's second oldest working pharmacy. So we can pick up medicine for this lady here.
Yeah. And I did make some good chicken soup. And that was maybe an unexpected
bonus
meal that I hadn't planned to make. I did like the fact that we got a good lay of the land. There are a version of the Spanish Steps that are in Rome, and I was really excited to explore those. And you could see it's so popular that there were people getting married and taking wedding photos from it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area. Look a lot smaller than the Roman version and
more compact.
Yeah.
But it's still really beautiful.
We also did a self tour. We got up on the wall and walked the whole circuit of it.
All right, where are we?
We're close to the Pile Gate, and we're going to walk the walls. I am a little short of breath and
Judy's
still
been
dealing
sick.
with a cold, but I want to do it. It's supposed to be rainy tomorrow, and I'm not sure when else we'll get another chance. So, but one thing to note, it's October, and even though this isn't high season, it has still been really crowded. But it's not as early as we want it to be. The walls open at 8 and it's just about 8:30, but there is really no one around, and that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, the cruise ships have to dock a couple miles away, so it does take them some time to get to the gate, and we're going to beat them.
Yeah, so kind of enjoy our walk that is a little less crowded.
It's the only time of day it will be.
There is a Dubrovnik pass that you can pay for, which has a ton of other things that you can see and do, but it just wasn't still at 100%, and so we didn't pay for that. But it is very worthwhile, and even if you just walk the wall, which is expensive, it's €40 a piece, it is really well worth it. It is stunning.
Yeah, that's the thing. You see the price, you go, oh, why would I do that? Well, you do it because you get to see everything. You get to see the water. You get to see the inside of the city. You get to see and just hang out. Yeah, the fortress. And you can just hang out. There's restaurants up there. There's a place to sit. And this is where people live, too. It's not a huge population of permanent residents.
Well, right now, I think it's only 700 or 800, but that's primarily because when Croatia became part of the EU and also as they embraced the euro, it's now really expensive for people to live in the city center.
So far, no sign of the Lannisters. I think we're safe.
I don't know. I did hear the music, so they may be coming.
Yeah. I think
It's like winter.
freaking, oh gosh, get going.
One of the things that I was a bit worried about, especially just kind of not feeling 100%, was how climbing all of the stairs for the wall was going to feel. But there really were, in my opinion, a lot less stairs than I thought that there might be. And I thought that it was well worth doing.
Yeah, and there was a lot of flat spots. It wasn't all stairs. It wasn't all up and down. You had options to go down on different platforms. There are multiple levels that you can go see. And we bopped our heads into everything we could and looked through all the little portholes. It was fascinating. And I really enjoyed being up there. It was a chilly day, so we wore jackets. But honestly, once you're up in the sun, it is just gorgeous.
And we were there in early October.
Right. And the big tip.
I cannot stress enough how important it is to do this wall early. It is so nice when there's not crowds. Just having the freedom to look around, be slow or be fast, your own speed. And the mornings, they're just lovely. Even on a chilly morning like this with the sun out, it's very warm on the wall. We did not need the jackets that I insisted we bring.
As groups of people come, they all want to pose for selfies, and it's frustrating to have to wait to get past them.
Yeah.
But at the time that we got there, we just sailed through. We didn't have to wait for almost anybody, and that was perfect.
Yeah, because parts of the wall are really narrow. The walkways, you can only fit like 2 people, and other parts are nice and wide. But if you're there behind a big group and they're all going through that narrow passage, you're not getting through.
They also will be checking your tickets, so you have to hang on to them, and you always have to go counterclockwise. We started at the Pile Gate. That worked out really well, and everybody has to go in the same direction. So they make sure that you only get to walk through it once. But really, I don't think you need to or would want to go through it more than that.
No. And if you go through it at a casual pace, it's about an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah, I think it took us an hour and a half.
So let's get this out of the way right now. Accessibility. There's stairs. There's no elevators. There's no other way around.
If you have any mobility issues, I would say this is really not something that's suitable for you.
Yeah, you do have to do stairs. There are no elevators up to the wall.
Right.
It's ancient.
Hey down there.
This is a breathing exercise.
Now, this is a walled city, so the best way to see it is from above. And one of the best ways to get above it is the cable cars, which were really nice and just outside the city, so not too far of a walk to get onto the cable car system.
Yeah, definitely worthwhile. There's an entire ecosystem up there with horses.
Wild horses, they're just hanging out.
And a very interesting museum. It's an exhibit of the Homeland War from 1991 to 1995. And we especially were interested in exploring it because we'd seen Montenegro and Bosnia and Herzegovina. We wanted to understand more of the history of the war. We had also been to Serbia, and we just kind of wanted to put all of the pieces together.
Yeah, the Imperial Palace is a key point in the attack on Dubrovnik. So there's a lot of exhibits showing what's happened to the people there and kind of the background on why they were attacking this walled city, which had no strategic advantage for really anything to do with the war.
The museum took a good amount of time to go through.
It was a palace built by Napoleon, so it was very big and it was very sturdy, which is why it's still there.
But it also did have a lot of stairs and a variety of things to see.
Yeah, but you can go up to the top and then you get a really nice bird's eye view of Dubrovnik, take your photos, get all the beautiful pictures, look at the rooftops because they said a lot of the city was damaged and you can see the old and new from up there. So take advantage of that cable car ride. We even stayed up there to have a meal because why not?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. So I have a lot of opinions about food. Not just the food, but food prices.
Just in Dubrovnik or overall?
Well, in this particular case, Dubrovnik.
Okay.
And that was the fact that the food was ridiculously expensive.
Yes.
Pizza was 25 euro for like a salami pizza.
Yeah.
When we've been in Italy, there's been comments about the fact of how could it be so expensive?
Yeah.
It's really just
€6. Why?
it's flour and water. How is it so expensive? But the cost of real estate inside the walls is quite high. So you are helping them to pay their rent, but you feel like you're paying their rent.
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting story that they can't pitch their restaurant to you. They can't hold a menu out in front of you and tell you to come in and sit down. That's one of the rules of the city. They can stand there. And if you ask about the menu, they can certainly talk about it. But you'll see people just standing. They won't pull you in. But all you have to do is ask a question about the menu, and now they can communicate with you. That's unique. I haven't heard of that before in a city.
Now let's talk about a couple of our favorite restaurants. Let's start with the cable car.
Yeah, the restaurant up there was really nice, really expensive.
Really expensive.
But the service was great, and I felt like the views were wonderful, especially if you can get to the table that's overlooking the edge. We kind of were back from it.
At least if you're going to pay high prices and the food is good and the atmosphere is relaxing and
the
beautiful.
Service is great, yeah.
You at least feel like you got some of your money's worth.
Yeah, you're not spending more than you would inside the walls, and it felt like you were getting a little bit more of scenery.
Kevin made an astute observation when we were in Malta that some of the best restaurants are ones that are vegan. And while this restaurant wasn't vegan, they had a lot of vegan foods on the menu.
Yeah, Soul Kitchen was a really nice restaurant, great service, and it was convenient to get to.
Yeah, the food was really good. Even the breakfast, I felt like was expensive, but it was at least something that was hearty and filling.
Yeah. And then we had an Italian place that we went to a couple times, Castello,
Yes.
which was really good service. The guy, the owner, manager, he was funny and fantastic.
Yeah, he had a sense of humor. And we were looking at the menu, kind of deciding whether or not to eat there. And there was a group of people who made a point of saying, oh my gosh, if you're deciding on whether to eat here or not, you should. We have been here 4 days in a row because it's so good.
You know, that has happened to us more than once. We're pondering over a place and a table will speak up and tell us what they liked about it. Love that.
Yeah,
Please
and
do that. That's a very helpful thing.
That is true. And they had recommended the beef soup, which was really outstanding.
Yeah, and you weren't feeling well, so soup sounded great and it didn't disappoint.
Yeah. The other meal that we had that I thought was really outstanding was their spaghetti bolognese. Really, really good. And their wine was excellent also.
Yeah, no complaints about that place, except the price, which was every restaurant, so it doesn't really matter.
Yes. And when we were trying to stay a little bit more on a budget, we could get a cappuccino and a chocolate croissant, fresh homemade. In fact, one day we had to wait because they were still being made.
And they were chocolate croissants, so they were tasty inside.
I think that's the only kind of croissant that they had, though.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I wasn't so impressed with was holy burek. And we've had burek all throughout the Balkans. And this one was, I think, kind of touristy.
Yeah,
and
it looked like a fast food place almost, the way they set up.
Well, I feel like their signage was, but inside looked more authentic. It just wasn't my favorite. So we lucked out, and there was no line at Holy Burek. So
Every day we walk by, it's been cruise ship people queuing up forever. So we finally get a Burek veal.
we were just watching British Baking Show yesterday, and they were doing sausage rolls, and I knew I needed to come here today for them.
We did want to get up to the stairs. There were restaurants up on the north side that were definitely out of the mainstream. Not everybody's walking up to them. And there was a seafood restaurant that was recommended. We were told to explicitly get the black risotto, which has seafood inside it. And
Thank you.
that was definitely an experience.
Finally made it out to the seafood restaurants on the northern side.
One of the surprising things, I feel like when we first arrived, it seemed as though Old Town was very large. And I think it was just because of the size of the walls. But when you walk around, it's really not unmanageable at all.
No. And the walk to these restaurants is just another street away. It's really not that far at all.
Quite easy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this meal, Kev.
Black risotto has seafood in it, and it's one of the local meals. It's delicious, though. It's a little salty. I think it tastes really good with the seafood. Squid, mussels. I think there might be shrimp, too. I'm not sure.
I think there was.
Yeah. What a baby shrimp. So everything's kind of small. Highly recommend. Really enjoy it.
So this is honey grappa.
Homemade. It's from
Homemade.
here.
Cheers.
Cheers. This was their consolation for no cappuccino. I asked for cappuccino, and they're like, nah, we don't have that. But I'll take grappa.
So to sum up restaurants, they're not going to be cheap. A lot of them can be really good, but be prepared to pay a lot of money for eating out.
Yeah, we definitely bought groceries to hedge our bets for some of our meals. So let's talk about the things that we really liked and the things that were maybe a little bit disappointing.
I loved the look of the city. I loved the history of the city. I loved that everything had to be authentic. This is a UNESCO city. They can't change the exteriors of these buildings. So everything that was being repaired to original style. It was a wonderful, stunning walk around that you could do all day long. It was a pretty easy place to get around. You don't have to walk up the steps on either side. You can enjoy the flat streets and get a lot of visuals, especially if you go down to the harbor and just watch the boats come in and out. Beautiful.
It really lends itself to taking some day trips. And I feel like that was one of the disappointments. I'm glad that we didn't overschedule ourselves and then have to cancel everything because I was too sick to do anything. And I really was too sick. I should not have been around people. And so for the most part, I slept a lot. And, it was disappointing that when you have your heart set on visiting a place and then you're too sick to enjoy it. We have an entire video that talks through that. We'll link it below. I don't know if I would have wanted to stay outside the city walls.
No.
Where we were pretty convenient. And it was kind of funny because we would regularly see tourists coming and being very curious about wondering what inside the buildings were like. Yeah. And so I did feel kind of exclusive that we had done that.
In fact, one time a couple of ladies walking towards us as we were walking towards our Airbnb, like, oh, I think that's a dead end over there. It's like, okay, we live there. It's all right. They're like, oh, you do? They were all excited.
We don't live, but for 2 weeks we do.
We do. Wherever we stay is home, so we consider living there for however short it is.
And when we were leaving, getting out of the walled area was so chaotic.
They happened to have a wonderful charitable event.
Oh, yeah.
All the restaurants got together and they set up these tables down the main street.
Which we saw the night before that they were setting up, and we knew we weren't going to be able to be participating in it.
This is their best foods from every restaurant in the city, and I guess this is an annual event that they use to raise money for charity, and it's pretty astounding that they set up so well. They had so many people that were serving all the crowds that were there, and I'm glad we got to see it. I don't think I would have wanted to try to get into one of the tables, but it was a nice experience to see.
Yeah, because people were attacking some of that food. It looked like every man for themselves. But it is fun when you get to be part of a festival like that.
And I think that's one of the things that impressed me about Dubrovnik. It felt like a city that was taking care of people. It didn't feel just like a tourist trap. It did feel like, yeah, you're spending a lot of money to be there, but it also felt like a city with heart. I would have been sad if we never got there.
Yeah, I'm completely glad to have gone.
Now, if you want to just go for a few days, that would probably work out for you. If you don't get sick, like some people, You could probably do most of the stuff there in 4 days, maybe.
Yeah, including day trips, which I think are worthwhile. And also, I think they're going to be cheaper than eating and spending all of your time in Dubrovnik.
Yep.
So we're going to talk a little bit about whether or not this was a place that if you were looking for home base, would you ever want to live here?
Inside the walled city? No. We don't have much experience outside of it, but I think that the area is beautiful. You know, you're on the water. And
That really was so spectacular.
Yeah, the gorgeous water. And there's a lot of, there's an island you can go to. There's a lot of other destinations. It's connected because you're on the coastline. So that would be beautiful.
I do think that it's hard to live in an area that has so many cruise ships going in and out. That might not be someplace that is ideal for me.
Yeah, we had to take an Uber to get to the airport, and waiting for that poor driver to get through all the traffic lines of the buses that were coming through these narrow streets, not in the city, outside the city still. That's really hard. So I can imagine it would be pretty frustrating if you live near the walled city and you had to get around, because everybody's trying to do it.
Yeah, agreed. So what did it cost us for 2 weeks in Dubrovnik? We used Chase travel points to fly from Houston to Croatia, so travel costs were pretty minor at only $60 or $30 per person. Accommodations were $1,101 or $79 per day, and that's with us staying directly in Old Town. Getting around the city cost us $96. Dining and groceries were a total of $1,219 or $44 per person per day. Now bear in mind that I was sick and we really didn't eat out as much or even cook for many of our meals. It was a lot of broth. Tours cost us a total of $151, and the total cost was $2,627. Minus the cost of transportation to travel there, we spent $2,567, which breaks down to $183 per day and $92 per person per day. Now, we really think that if you do any more tours or anything else, that number is going to be a lot higher.
If you enjoy cities like this that have that old style feel, check out our video about Mostar right here.
We thought that was one of the most beautiful old towns that we've ever been. It's a little bit different, but we think you'll enjoy it.
Thank you so much for joining us here in Dubrovnik. Our next stop is Berlin, and if you haven't already subscribed, you're going to want to do that.
And remember to
Wander more
worry less.
and bring a passport.
Until next time.
Until next time.